Let's see if I can play up.
I want people to know before I start this video, a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about, they're not going to be being said to hurt the feelings of the atheists that are going to be listening.
Oh,
no. Or to be offensive, even though that I know that they're going to be offended when they hear me bring up some of these things. But it's some feedback, guys. Let me turn that down.
You might want to fix that feedback. Lower this music.
I know that some of the atheists that are going to be listening to this are going to be offended. I've stayed quiet for a long time listening to the remarks, but I think it's worth pointing out. I've listened to people like Dragnot make remarks towards Tommy Hall, towards myself, and towards G-Man, for example. You hear them making remarks, for example, to Tommy Hall, that Tommy Hall, making shots at his job or something like that, what he's doing for a living. I think he does landscaping or something like that.
A successful business.
And the thing about it is, why is he making those remarks to Tommy?
Because they're funny.
Why? Really? Just think about him making these remarks to Tommy.
I am jealous of his
The reason why I'm thinking about this now is because recently in a hangout, he was actually talking about this with another individual by the name of Steve. These are two very loud and very aggressive people in the atheist community that most of us Christians are aware of.
Let's see.
Trying to be very careful not to hurt anybody's feelings, but there's only really one way to say it. I think that the projection is very clear. I think that a lot of these atheists that are coming here online, they're using the internet as an outlet to make themselves feel better about whatever is going on in their own personal life. Why do I say this? Well, Dragnot, he's come out previously in the past talking about the job that he's working at. I think he's working at some sort of retail place. And
he kind of missed the fact that I'm making a joke out of that.
Where he was actually having to
How did everyone else understand that, but he missed
This was a while back. There was nothing wrong with that. We all hit hard times.
Oh,
but we noticed that whenever
I hit hard
talking
times.
With myself, he's talking with...
I remember saying that one, buddy. That hasn't happened.
Tommy Hall, for example, or with G-Man. And whenever there's a back and forth happening and people start saying something that, they don't like, it always goes down that route where he's trying to attack somebody personally like that. It's almost like he's trying to bring people down to his level.
It's true. I had to interrupt you, man. See the message I put on the side there?
Mm-hmm.
So when I said I was living with family, I was living with my in-laws after I moved from California.
Don't worry about it.
And I exited the Army October 1st, 2014. So we lived with them for maybe a month.
If you guys can hear that in the background,
I think maybe two, until we found a suitable apartment in this shithole that was safe enough for my family to live. So if that's hard times, then sure. I'm not sure how living in a luxury apartment is coming off tough time, but I mean, maybe he has a different definition of tough times. But I challenge folks to go find where I said I had hard times and I had to live.
So I'm just going to try to get through this really quickly because I don't want to be saying things that are going to be offensive to these guys. I've actually taken time out with other Christians when they've gone back and forth with these individuals to tell them, look, you don't need to talk about these things because you don't want to offend them. But I think it is very interesting that every time we engage with these people, we tend to hear these very aggressive and angry remarks. And I'm sitting over here and I'm listening to these people trying to belittle myself and belittle some of these other people in the community.
I mean, doesn't take very much.
Why does it need to go in that direction? Why does it need to go in that direction when they start insulting other people and tearing other people down? There's no need for any of that.
Wow, really?
And one of the things that I notice is that it is insecurity.
Is that not what you do on a
daily basis? They'll try to throw it back at us and say, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But it is insecurities. It is very clearly insecurities. It's no secret what's going on with Steve, for example, with his work situation right now. And I've tried to defend him, and I've tried to make sure, nobody's going to try to offend him or hurt his feelings or anything. But you notice that whenever somebody starts to talk about whenever he starts to offend somebody, he starts to call someone a dumb effer and, you know, how they can't do this, that, or the other. He starts insulting people. Where things tend to go, the remarks that he tends to make in his little community. And I just think it's worth paying attention to. I mean, whenever these people are starting to get backed into a corner and they start making these remarks to myself or to G-Man and to
Steve
Tommy Hall and some of the other people inside of the community, why is that needing to happen? Why do they feel like trying to, out of nowhere, make those remarks towards us? And I think the obvious reason is that they need to do that. It's almost like they got to tear other people down to make themselves feel better about themselves.
No, maybe it's just funny.
All else fails, when this this idea of themselves that they're presenting here online fails, it's almost like they feel exposed. And that's just how it's coming off to me. It's almost like they feel like we're making a shot at them personally. So they feel like, okay,
you do take personal shots at people. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
You know,
really?
What did he say about you? I know you remember this, Dragon. He said something about,
I'll remember.
He said something about you staying in your mother's basement or something like that. I mean, why would he make some remark like that?
Because it's
funny. Why would he make those statements every single time? Like, you start to say something that he doesn't like, G-Man. That's because he's offended. I mean, I think there's something going on in their personal life.
What am I offended by? Tell me specifically what I'm offended by.
There's a lot that I could talk about that I don't really want to say that they've made public here online.
You've opened the door. But, why not say
I do really think that is what's going on.
I am having hard financial times,
I guess what I'll do is I'll leave the door open for you guys.
I mean, you've already said that.
What do you think about the community? Do you guys see any insecurities going on online? Because to me, it really is starting to stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, I just, it's getting to the point to where I really can't ignore it. When I'm hearing these people respond or make responses,
this is gonna be okay.
They always throw these types of marks. For example,
get my ass whooped.
I made a video a while back talking about. I threw it in the midst of there how I was going to go cash a $2,700 check.
Yeah, that sounds
and when I made that, I was talking
conversation
about,
to me. That had to do with the conversation.
I was probably be making a response to Steve.
What the fuck?
He responded to everything that I was saying. I said, look, really, I don't need to make a response to Steve because his video response failed. All really people have to do is go back to the response that he's responding to. And you'll quickly see that, look, he doesn't, the response doesn't need to be made. And Dragnoct puts in the title of his video that true empiricism is struggling or something like that to make it out of poverty or something.
What?
Now, why would you make that remark?
Go find
because
that.
Obviously,
someone please go find that.
Video
that doesn't exist.
He's come out in the past talking about how he had to stay with family members. He's talked about in the past, and I'm not trying to be offensive, talking about his retail job that he's working at.
Yeah, because I want extra cash.
I think there's like some sort of insecurity there. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about. He makes remarks about things that he shouldn't be making remarks about.
Says who?
At very interesting times.
When my turn comes, I got a lot I want to say about it, but I'll let Antonio go first.
What the fuck is they talking about?
I'm in the middle of something. I'm temporarily distracted. Go ahead, man.
So I mean,
first of all, I know fully what you're talking about, true empiricism.
Oh, really?
Because they make it personal with me all the time. I'm a Christian that believes that God exists. I mean, just like you, Antonio.
Of course, you, man. That's what it is.
I believe that God is not immoral, and I fundamentally disagree with the worldview of the atheist, humanistic, mindset. But most of the time,
not because you put bullhorns out of people's hangouts and you're fucking belligerent. No, that has nothing to do with it at all.
Go after like their personal life. The only time I've been guilty of doing that in your line is when they have made it personal with me, or they have gone after my person. I've had, just like you mentioned earlier, some people says I live in my mom's basement, even though my mom's been dead for like 5 or 6 years now.
That's because it's a joke, G-man.
Some of them will say that I make minimum wage, and if I did, it's none of their business. You know what I mean? Some of them will try to throw my real name out there so everybody can know it and whatnot. Try to like get under my skin that way. But the funny thing is, while they're doing that, whenever I make a video and I say that atheists are harmful to society, they have no morality, they're not good people, and all this other stuff and whatnot, they end up proving me right because they make it personal. So
that's what I'm trying to say too. That's what I'm trying to say.
My cause when they're doing it, and
that's what I'm.
Videos talking about like how you're working in retail. What does that got to do with the Great Debate? What is the mentioning your real name got to do with the Great Debate? None of that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, just like how much money True Empiricism supposedly makes more than everyone else.
That ain't got nothing to do with the Great Debate.
I'm waiting for someone to address that bullshit that True did. That's it's funny. Like that. Because that's the reason I made the video, was because he offered that unnecessary bit of information to try and shit on Steve. That was the only purpose of that video.
And I know they're doing it because
now he's upset that I fucking pushed his shit in
again.
But
they've been preaching that like over about a year now. So you're on the money with that. And if these people really want to do something, if they want to change minds, they want to keep our society, simply go after the argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say too. First of all, there's nothing wrong with working retail jobs. I'm not trying to say that at all for people who are listening. There's nothing at all wrong with that. There's some people that actually make some decent money working detail jobs. I mean, some managers out there that work retail could be making $16, $18 an hour.
Some do, yeah.
Some more than that. It depends on where you would be working. So I'm not trying to down talk anybody who's working retail jobs. I'm just trying to say that his responses are indicative of somebody who's insecure.
Very insecure.
Retail jobs.
So insecure.
His responses are indicative
I work
of
a
somebody
retail job that I
is,
technically don't have to work.
There's insecurities. I mean, it seems like he's got to build up this perception here on the internet. He wants people to look at him a certain way.
That's why I go to school.
When it fails,
remember? To impress people on the internet.
He fails in his discussions. It always goes back to trying to talk about something in his personal life. Oh, well, you're poor or something, or you know what, I'm going to school. And, just like, why does it go quickly in that direction all of a sudden? Because the reality is angry. That's obviously not true. I mean,
because it's a trigger.
I can say with confidence, I think, I'm not trying to rub it in or anything. My paychecks are probably about 3 times as much as his weekly.
They probably are.
But his responses are just showing everybody that he's insecure about his position. It's not about the truth here online. It's about his ego. That's what it's all about. It's about his ego. And it's the same thing that I see with Steve. And I'm not trying to be offensive again, but it's the same thing that I see with Steve. This insulting, this disrespect towards other people, this trying to tear down other people, almost like he's trying to make himself feel better about himself. And while he's doing that, people react and get angry with him. And then you see him crying in some YouTube videos somewhere. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. I mean, the situation that went back and forth with Sean and him, Sean pointed out that the guy didn't, his education wasn't as great as how he was trying to make it sound to be. And that Sean had actually a higher education than him when it came in that field. And he got offended by it, and afterwards it, led to, unfortunately, him tearing up on a YouTube video. But it's like
that
this.
Thread
this is
where
what
somebody pointed out that Sean didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
It's like a group of people
when it came to nuclear physics, but I digress.
They understand that Christians are supposed to be a certain way. Christians are supposed to be respectful. Christians are not going to react to them the same way that they would react. So they take advantage of that, and they insult and they belittle, and they make all these remarks towards people,
or may have something to do.
That's really an outlet for them
to do with the fact that you are a belligerent,
take out their frustrations. Really,
it may have
then
something
one of
to
the
do
Christians get tired of it. They get frustrated with it, and they react.
It has nothing to do with your religious affiliation.
Happen to be true, and it offends them.
Because it's so funny. I deal with
you
Christian
see them
people
start to
more in my real life than I do with non-Christian people.
Now, I know this is going to be offensive to some of these people, but
hang out with each other, see each other's families.
For those in the community, I think that we all know what I'm saying is true.
When it comes to you,
I think we all know what I'm saying here is true.
It's so strange how
it always comes down to not trying to pay attention to the arguments or to the points. You don't have any arguments. But always trying to make fun of and belittling the person who's making those points by trying to attack, like any way that they might say something or any niche somewhere, and then it always turns into some sort of insulting game that people are playing back and forth with one another. And people may be offended by this video. Again, for 3 or 4 years now, I've tried to be as respectful as I can, not to mention these things that they've made live here online. But I think it's worth pointing out. I think it's worth people paying attention to that, to the fact that a lot of what is going on here inside of this community from the outspoken atheist is insecurities.
Piggybacking off this whole thing about insecurities, just take a look at the atheists I debated like a week ago or so. Mr. Tom Leeds, he calls himself the Philly neighborhood atheist. Now, the thing about this guy is, I saw one video originally where he was talking about why atheists make fun of Christians, and I responded to it and tore it apart. And he responded back to me, but I didn't say anything to him immediately. I just wanted to see where his head was at. I didn't respond back to him. I didn't contact him in any way. And he spent over a month trolling my channel, talking about, you're a coward. Why haven't you responded back? And then he started pointing out my sub count, because this guy has like 1,700 subs, and I just hit over the 260 mark, and it was even lower at the time. And then he's like, you don't have a isn't that big in comparison to mine, and all this other stupid junk. So I'm like, dude, why do you? I don't give a crap about your sub count, man. I don't care who you are. You're just another human being like I am. I don't care about your ego, dude. I respond when I'm ready to respond to you. I don't respond on your timetable, man. I got a life, man.
Tell him.
Couldn't let it go. I was like,
boom.
And he kept calling me a coward over and over and over again. I'm like, look,
put his ass on ignore then.
You think I'm a coward? Fine, that's your opinion. But if you really, really believe that, then why don't you just leave me in obscurity and go about your life? Let it go. Because that's what men would do. Men don't entertain foolishness. If they really think someone is a coward and not worthy of their time, then they're just going to let it go, move on, turn the page. That's it, and it's a wrap. But he could not let it go. He just kept on trying to just goad me into responding to him. I mean, I finally did respond to him, and
but then we had a discussion.
That he did quite bad, and then I was even having atheists tell me he did bad in it. But you're absolutely right, True and G-Man. These people have terrible, terrible egos, and they just pontificate themselves like by default as, the more intelligent ones, simply by the fact that they're atheists and we're supposedly the magical sky daddy Christians. And when they find people who can tear their foundations apart, make them look stupid, they can't stand it. And then they try a whole bunch of tactics, like you were talking about them talking about personally about like whatever job you work at, or this dude who got more subs than I do,
he angry the whole time,
but wants to troll my channel nonstop for over a month straight. I mean, what kind of self-respecting person do that? Especially if they really, really believe that they have a stronger message and a stronger reach than I do. You think they would spend more and more time talking with their subs and trying to keep their fans interested in the content that they have. Now, what are you sitting up here doing?
Maybe engaging you is a way that he can do that.
Little
I don't know.
old me, who barely had
like
245, 250 subs at the time. Little old me, you're sitting up here trolling me 24/7. What does that say about you, sir? And I think it says quite a bit about this aspect of their insecurities. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? Again, I want people to really pay attention to what I'm saying here, because I really mean this. I am not trying to be offensive at all. I'm not trying to hurt their feelings. Nothing like that.
You just pretty much lied about me,
for the longest time. Other Christians I've talked to privately, I've always, said, we should try not to say things that are going to hurt their feelings.
Oh, like calling people liars
try to be cool about it,
okay, true.
But I do think that people need to really keep their eye on this, because it is the truth, man. We really can't ignore this elephant in the room. The reality here is that a lot of these allegations that they make towards us is the fact that they're not happy with their life. It seems like that really does seem.
No,
like
I'm
it seems like they are insecure, and those insecurities start to show really whenever you show them that they're wrong. It's like they need people to think that they're right here on the internet or something. It's hard to really explain and to really narrow down because they all have their own personalities. But you can clearly see a lot of projections being manifested from these people.
All I know is this. I believe that God exists, and the only way they're going to prove that God doesn't exist is by coming up with a really good argument. Using my real name and titles, and saying I'm gay and saying that I make love with animals and all those other dumb rumors. Because I got to the point, true empiricism, where they say that I raped a little baby on YouTube and they got video proof of it. I won't even waste my time and go watch it. I won't even care. If somebody comes and tell me this is what they're saying, I'll be like, I don't care. Because that's how far I've gone with it. Because I realize, after like so many years here on the internet, they don't have any evidence that there's no God. You know what I mean? That's what I care about at the end of the day. I care about exposing, these lies that cause Christians to fall away from the faith. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in these, this person works at the, at the deli or McDonald's. It doesn't matter where they're working. People need to pay their bills. I work in retail. I'm never going to let somebody tell me because they got a better job than me.
Oh, is that like True Empiricism did earlier?
I'll laugh at them if they say something like that. Because the funny thing is, I know people that make 4 times the amount of money that I make, and they're always broke. They don't have it. And they're borrowing somebody who doesn't make what they make. You understand what I'm saying? So those kind of things don't bother me. My thing is this. When I come on your channel and I say, okay, atheists aren't real. What's your argument against it? Well, we're going to use your real name. We're going to call you stupid. We're going to say that you're part of the Count Car policy. That doesn't really answer my question. Why do atheists exist? And when they can't do it, what I care about is the audience seeing, okay, this person's throwing ad homs. This person is throwing logic. And I'm the one throwing logic. It is not the atheist. If the atheist is throwing logic, they would be able to throw a sound, educated argument my way. One of the things I like about people like, there are some people in here who don't make it personal. People like Hannah Zubby, because when I meet her in public, we sit down and we disagree with each other, and guess what? We're still friends. You understand what I'm saying? I can sit down with Lee Lemon. I can sit down with Psychopath. Me and him just got finished arguing on his YouTube channel. I can go to his house right now. We can go chill and eat a hamburger. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't get so personal where we can't have a regular conversation. But then there's some people on here for what you're talking about, True, who are on here.
Talk is cheap, there, brother.
I don't know. There's something wrong in their heads or something. Like they need medication or something where they feel the need to just personally attack you. Listen, you're going to college. That means you have a higher education than the person that you're talking about. Don't you think you should be an example and use what you learned in school and act like you got an education?
Yeah, that's why I talk about biology and shit here.
You understand what I'm saying? The higher you exalt yourself, the smarter you make yourself, the more accountable you're going to be to everybody. If you're saying that you got a PhD and you got like 4
that doesn't mean you have
degrees or whatever,
man. I think
in science or whatever, and you got little old so-and-so over here that don't even got a bachelor's or whatever.
I'm not.
Then that means you should know how to conduct yourself. You should know how to share the information. And you should know how to do it in a professional manner.
Call this one here.
You understand what I'm saying? These atheists don't even know. They're bragging and they're posting and